Welcome to Girl Talk with your host, Melissa Ann. Girl Talk is that show which discusses the real issues Black women face being a mom, a dad, a wife, a girlfriend, a sister, a co-worker, a therapist, or whatever hat Black women wear on any particular day. Why? Because Black women are just dope. Without further ado, here is your host, Melissa Ann.
Welcome to Girl Talk with your girl, Melissa Ann. So excited to be here today with some friends of mine who are going to have a conversation about being 50. Myself as a millennial, being 29, I just want to hear from the greats on what 50 is like and what I have to look forward to. So we are going to have a conversation about being 50 and what's that is like. And I think the ladies all said none of us look 50 or past 50 in some instances. So without further ado, I will let my guests introduce themselves. Miss Carol Small, you're up. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Melissa Ann. We appreciate you inviting us here to this platform. I'm Carol Small, the realtor. I am a real estate professional here in the Triangle area of North Carolina. That's Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Durham area. And I live in Chapel Hill. And I'm glad to be here. I just want to pour into anyone who needs it and help where I can.
Awesome. Thanks for the great introduction. And Val?
Well, hey, y'all. Hey, it's your girl Val, and I'm 54. And I really am one of the people who enjoy being my age. I love it. I actually work in pharmaceutical, and I'm a logistics coordinator there. So I kind of make sure that drugs stay in the system. That's just what I do for my paycheck. But what I love to do is encourage people. And so that's the perspective that I'll be coming from here on this Girl Talk today, is from a place of encouragement.
Wow. Awesome introduction. And last but not least, listen. This was the very first person I met on my college campus as an afraid young freshman. And I would love for Sharice to introduce herself.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Melissa. My name is Sharice. I am married. I have 2 adult daughters. I am a licensed social worker, also a registered nurse. And I am claiming 50, and I'm learning, and I'm here willing to share exactly what I've been going through to let everyone know that it's not as bad as it may sound.
Okay. Yeah. So we could dig right on in. Let me tell you something. First of all, this is an opportunity for us to ask each other questions too. Like if you have a burning question, one of us might know the answer to that. But the part 2, I saw something that kind of pissed me off. I saw a meme that said 50-year-old women are saying that they can't find a man. They'll meet him soon. His name is Jesus. How freaking rude is that for someone to say? I just want to set the record straight that first of all, your ass gonna turn 50 at some point too, little millennial, little whatever it is before a millennial. But also, 50 is not a death sentence, and 50 doesn't mean that you're old. 50 means that you're seasoned. 50 means that you've learned things. 50 means that you are looking at things from a different lens. And 50 means that you have finally figured it out, that where you want to go, what you're aspiring to do, and how you get there. What do you guys think about that meme and everything that I've added to the end of it?
Well, first of all, I love Jesus, so I'm not worried about that. But I find it funny that people would try to use that as some sort of an insult, right? There's a maturity about 50, right? I'm not married, and that's okay. I've already done that whole playing around, and acting like I thought I was in love. I think you and I kind of talked about this before. I thought I was in love and had some heartbreaks that weren't really necessary. But now, as a more mature individual, I'm more wise about the choices that I'm making and the people that I want to spend my time with. And while we're running around trying to have hot sex, you better find out if that person knows how to pay some bills. You better know if they know how to make a living. Those are the things that are more important, but we don't think about that when we're young. Long as he's fine, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And I think, if those are really important topics and really important things to think about, like you're not thinking about that when you're younger. But we all thought about, you think you Methuselah, like you look at somebody when they were 50 at our age, if you're in your 20s, like, dang, you like Methuselah. But now you're all offended when you get here at 50 and somebody's thinking the same thing. But I think we didn't have social media and there was tact. So, that's a part of it. And they don't know what they don't know. But Carol, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so understand that this topic is regarding 50-year-old women. Well, I've kind of pushed that years past. I am 59 years old. Don't feel like 59 was supposed to feel in my head. I thought 59 would be super old and I'd be walking around with improper length skirts on, too long, not quite to, right length, and orthopedic shoes. But honey, I got some heels that I don't think 30-year-olds could walk in. But anyway, and my leather pants still look good on. Let's see. So, I'm not mad at them for thinking that. I don't even have an attitude or anything because I was kind of sarcastic when I was 25, 35, even 40. I thought 59 was old. I really did. But there were a couple things that were some really pleasant surprises. And not to put like a sex life kind of thing out into the public, but all of a sudden at 50, I think my sex drive was probably 100 times increased from when I was 25 or 30.
Okay.
I remember my ex-husband wondering why I didn't want to have sex. I had cramps all the time. I had PMS. I was always tired. I'm like working like crazy, got this baby hanging off my hip. And now I'm like looking at my phone, like, where is he? Where is he? Where's my guy? Or whatever. I don't have one right now, but I have in the past. But so I think it's just it's a frame of mind that younger people have, and they're just going to have it. And I don't think that I need to condemn them about it, but I will tell them, women half the age of 50 or approaching 50, look forward to some of the best intimacy that you've ever had in your life and clarity of mind.
When you said about the meme, I said, well, okay, when I was younger, I also thought, 50 was old also. So I can understand that. Ageism is alive and well. We know that. You see that in a job, even with the young. My own kids tell me, Ma, you old, when we talk about things. So I would just take that with laughter. But I'm happy to be 50. I'm claiming 50. At first, I was like, dang, 50, that sounds old. But now that it's here, I'm embracing it. And I think part of the sexual awakening, to me, I feel it's more of, okay, my kids are a little grown. I'm an empty nester now. I mean, that doesn't mean everything is empty, but I have a little bit more freedom, a lighter load. And so, yeah, I don't have the worries and the cares that I had so much when the kids were little, and I'm trying to be this perfect mom and the wife and the this and the that. And so, yeah, you can kind of be in tune with, well, what do I want now? And what do I like now? And I'm expecting you to give it to me. And I'm okay. And I'm okay asking for it because I paid my dues back there. I took care of the kids. I took care of you. Now let's take care of me.
Oh, okay.
Love that.
She preached the whole sermon. She preached the
Did
whole
she?
sermon.
I'm saying,
Bring it home.
take care of me. And to piggyback off of that, that's really a great segue to kind of talk about what does that mean at 50 to take care of you. What does that mean? Because, like you said, you've been the person that's been doing everything for everyone else. And I think we could say that whether we're married or not, or have children or not, we've been doing a lot of things for everyone else. So what does that mean when you say, let me take care of me? What are you doing to do that?
Well, that's to me is mind, body, and soul, and it's a work in progress. I can't say that I got it all under wraps. Like I'm learning as I go. I'm learning who I am. Who am I now that I'm not that mom of little kids? Who am I now that I went to school, I got my career, I'm working, I'm trying to figure that out. What else is Sharice? What else do you want to do? And you have more freedom to now say, okay, let me encourage and explore and see what I like. And sometimes it's scary. It's easy to say, "Oh, now I'm free and I can just go run the world and do." But it's a little scary too because I'm really attached to these roles of I'm a mom, I'm a mama bear over my kids. And then I'm the wife, and then at the same time it's like, dang, I look back and say, all right, you was a wife, but how much did you give of yourself that you didn't even take care of you? And so now I'm working through the mind, the body, and the soul separately and together.
Very nice. What does that mean for you, Val?
Well, for me, I found myself wanting to travel. So travel turned into a very big part of who I am. It started because I got sick. They said I had cancer and all that. And I didn't have cancer, but my mindset got busy thinking about living because they told me to start thinking about dying. And so travel just became who I am. I was like, there's a great big old world out here, and doggone it, I want to see as much of it as possible. And I made it my business to go anywhere I thought I wanted to go. So taking care of me began to just be like, open up to this world. What else is out there? There's more to it than Georgia. There's more to it than, other places in the states that I've been, California, Indiana, Texas, whatever. What else is out there? So taking care of Valerie became my soul searching became travel. So I've been to Paris 3 different times. I've been to Italy. I've been to Greece. That was taking care of me because it took care of, like Cherie said, mind, body, and soul, right? My mom passed when I was young. And so now I look at that like, okay, mom, guess what? This is what we're doing. I take it as a thing that the both of us are doing. So for me, travel has turned out to be the thing that I do that takes care of Valerie.
And what about you, Carol?
Self care has always been a point of contention for me. I feel like I started off caring for other people when I was 11 years old. When my father and mother got divorced, my mother completely broke down. Here's a woman with a master's degree, completely broke down and was unable to cook dinner at some point. So at 11 years old, I had to step in and do my thing, ride my bike to go get groceries and all that stuff. After college, got married, husband, child, and now all of a sudden, and then as life would go, took care of my mother who had dementia for 15 years until she just passed away this July. I never took care of myself. Even right now, I struggle with separating myself from the work and the getting everything together to even just go to the gym. I was going to the gym for a long period of time there, but all of a sudden, it's almost as though I cannot fathom breaking away from work and making business decisions to go and take care of myself. But 2 weeks after my mother passed away and I buried her, 2 weeks after I buried her, I got on a plane and went to Hawaii. I hadn't been on vacation in 15 years. It was soul soothing. So that is something that I need to probably make an appointment for in my calendar. This is something that I need to do to be able to move on in a healthy and positive way.
That's awesome. I think all of that is about, who you are as a 50-year-old woman. You're thinking about, you're not thinking about death. You're thinking about living. And I think that a lot of the younger, the younger generation, as we've all said, we thought the same thing, have to kind of listen, right? We have to listen and have these conversations with someone who's older so that they know what they're looking forward to, but B, realize there's a different perspective that we bring to the table. We're more mature, right? We've done things in our past that we weren't necessarily, I know I have, that I'm not necessarily proud of. But we are at a phase of living, and what does that mean? Shamefully, and I know Sharice is going to cringe right now, is that I haven't looked at a budget until right now. When I turned 50, I'm like, oh, maybe I should start looking at a budget and how I budget my money. And instead of just, I'll go to the grocery store here and I'll do that and I'll do this and I'll do this. But when it was like a eureka, let me sit down and do a budget. Like looking at the amount of money I spend on stuff that I shouldn't be spending on. But that's part of the self-care. So when you think about self-care and you think about your family, how do you separate the two? How do you take trips like Val and not worry about who's in your household and how they gonna eat? So Val, what's some of the things that you do? And Sharice, what are some of the things that you can and will do? And Carol, what are some of the things that you can and will do to provide self-care to yourself?
Like I said, it's travel, it's spending time with my girlfriends, it's doing those other things that outside of work. We go to work, and see, everybody thought the pandemic was such a bad thing. The pandemic sat me down. The pandemic said, guess what, sister girlfriend? Take a good look at you. And guess what? Everything I saw wasn't pretty. Matter of fact, most of what I saw was kind of ugly. And like you, I found that, guess what? Yeah, I've been to Greece. I've been to all these different Rome. I've been to all these places, no budget. How in the world do you get to do the things that I've done living raggedy? So the pandemic sat me down to say, okay, hold up, babe. We're going to get you together. And so I took that, well, it's still going on if you ask me, but I took that initial beginning time to sit down and really start to get my life together. I gutted my house, threw things out that I didn't need. I mean, it's really small steps. Everybody think a lot of this stuff is super major, but if you just stop, when the world stopped, I had to stop. And I looked at these small things that I could do that started to make a big difference in my life. I'm the happiest I've ever been, but I got my life on track. See, I was running around here doing stuff, spending money like you, not thinking about where it was coming from, what I was taking from it to do it, and this, that, and the other. And it was such an ugly situation. But the pandemic and me and the God that I serve, we sat down and we got that thing on track. And so for me, that's been self-care, because now I've been able to do things and not be concerned or worried or why and all that. I've just been able to do because I planned.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. That is self-care.
So for me, like Val said, the pandemic made me stop. I actually put together an idea that I had had for years. I started my own real estate firm. It took me literally 2 months to get everything done. I don't know what I was waiting for. I've been practicing real estate on and off for 16 years. Never did I think I had 2 months to get it done. And I, of course, wasn't working on it all day, every day, but I got my LLC done. I got my EIN number. I got my DUNS number. I got my business phone number. I got my website done. And then after applying for a real estate firm license from the state of North Carolina, it came in the mail.
Come on, Black woman, get it.
Go figure. Like we talked about, all those roles and hats that we've been wearing all these years, it took up so much bandwidth in my head that I literally couldn't get these things on paper and make a checklist and just go through each of them. But the pandemic made us stop. It made me get those things together. I am still working to try and find a bookkeeper. I need to get my taxes together, because now I have my personal and my business taxes I need to get together. I have not, and I will say it in public, I need a bookkeeper if anybody knows one. And I would like to have a junior bookkeeper so that it would be someone with patience to help me get all the records in one place. Those senior bookkeepers, they want you to come with everything organized. I don't need one of those. Okay. Now I said that. My next thing is I need to incorporate income to be allocated for travel and things like that. Like I said, hadn't been anywhere in 15 years. That's a long time, to not, have to pay for care for your mother for 24 hours, which was $24 an hour. Think about that if you go out of town. So I'm literally starting from where a lot of millennials are starting from right now, as far as my finances are concerned. But I knew I had to put it into hyperdrive. That's why I started my own firm. I'm focusing on the acquisition and disposition of multifamily properties, apartment buildings, and apartment complexes with my firm. However, I'm still affiliated with a firm for my traditional real estate business, houses, land, farms, whatever.
Yeah, and we want to hear more about that at the end of what your business does and who you are as Carol Small, the realtor. And I think another part of that was, like you said, self care. But what I pulled out of that is baby steps. You took teeny tiny baby steps to get to the bigger picture. And I think sometimes what we want to do is take the whole daggone elephant and try to eat the whole daggone elephant when you absolutely cannot do that. Sharice, what are your thoughts on the question?
Well, I also agree. I agree there, with a lot of loss during the pandemic and COVID, there also was some positivity that came out. It slowed everybody down to and hopefully, I hope that most sat down to reevaluate how they've been living, how they've been moving, what they needed to change, what they needed to clean up. And for me, being a married person, yes, we have two incomes, but that doesn't mean that we're financially straight, right? Because we're two people juggling that. And so it took the pandemic for us to sit down and say, hey, we're here, we're saving money, we're not going back and forth like we used to. Let's start looking at what we have because, as I say, we're 50. We learned our first 50. Now let's get together for the next 50 and prepare for that for retirement. And so when you say baby steps, we actually joined the day. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Dave Ramsey, but he has a program where he uses that dialogue of taking it as baby steps, little by little, snowballing your debt, seeing where your money is going, and being more financially responsible for yourself so that you can live your best life. And we definitely took care of that. And it's a work in progress, baby steps.
That's what's up. Cause then our kids ain't gonna take care of us. My child told me she was gonna put me in the basement. So setting myself up so that I have a nest egg in the event I need to take care of myself. But all jokes aside, the theme of this podcast was 50 and fabulous, and we talked about some fabulous things and the strength of who we are as well. I'm 29, but the strength of who you are as individuals at 50 plus. What does 50 and fabulous mean for each of you?
That's a tough one. To be fabulous would mean to me that I had everything in the background together and made it match what you see in the foreground. And so I'm still working on that. I may be almost fabulous, but I'm still working on getting the background together because I think I'm just a little few years behind people because of some of my commitments that I had to honor. So fabulous to me would mean that all of my background, finances, retirement plans, and everything would match how I look when I step outside and speak to people in public.
The fabulous part to me is the mindset change. Like you said, Carol, it's when it all matches. But first of all, when it takes place in the mindset that, oh, I need to get some things, some balls on the roll and get some things lined up. That's when I think it becomes fabulous because ultimately everybody wants to think fabulous and 50 has something to do with what we look like. Now we look good. Now I'm looking at all of us. But what's looking good when your mind is jacked up? What's looking good when your spirit's jacked up, right? So there's a mindset that comes with being, in my personal opinion, with being 50 and fabulous, right? And it's about how I think it's how I learned to, it's how I treat people. It's how I am when people, can I light up a room or do I make the room go dim? Do I bring some joy and some light to a place when I enter, or am I, people are grumpy. I don't want to grow old and be that grumpy old broad, right? Who wants that? I'm like, can I bring some light and some joy to the situation? Can I bring a different perspective? And I think for me, that has to do with being fabulous. That I'm able to pour into you guys something, and if I see that some of my sister, I don't care if she's younger, older, my age, whatever, my brother even, if they're down, I want to be able to bring something to them to lift them up. I've told Melissa that's my superpower. That's the thing I believe that God gave me to be able to lift other people up. And so for me, that's what makes me fabulous.
All right. I heard a little preacher
Mm.
coming out in there though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I heard the sermon. I was about to go get my Bible, sis. You had that straight up. Does it make you feel like you had the whole getting in there? I loved every last bit of what you said because we do align 50 and fabulous to how I look. How I look. Does my body look great? Does my hair look great? Does my nails look great? But 50 and fabulous is my, what am I doing to help other people? My mindset. That was awesome. What Val just put down. What do you think 50 and fabulous is, Cherise?
Well, I agree with Carol and Val that they touched on the same things I'm thinking. 50 and fabulous. To me, I'm like fit. We're wiser. We've been through a lot. I think it's important that first of all, you carry yourself because you have your outside image. Even if you don't feel there or you are there, you fake it and you make it till you make it. It's hard work to be beautiful. We have to keep ourselves up. And like you said, we don't look our age. And I think that's a good thing to portray. But at the same time, it's also the inner self, right? Like they said, your mind, your body, your soul. It's so important that's the part of the fabulous, that you not only exude it, but you feel it inside too. And you feel like a confident person and that you're giving back to the world, and that you're not falling for all this worldly stuff, because I too love the Lord. I put him first in everything that I do. And I know that I was created to bring a certain light and gift to the world. And I think also working on that piece of you as a person is what's going to put the period at the end of the sentence. 50 and fabulous.
It is, period. And I think the confidence piece of it is so awesome to point out. And I think there's an insertion of you can't get to all the places that you've said, right? Without somebody looking at your past, your pain, and your trauma, and the things that you got to clear out of your gutter to get to the places that you need to get to. Because if that gutter is full and you know it on your house, what happens when the leaves fill your gutter? Stuff don't work properly. And if we don't get those things out, we can't get to that next level. And I think that's one of the things when I started this conversation joking and kind of not joking about the younger individuals saying such harmful things, but they don't realize that some of the things that they're experiencing, some of the things they have experienced, are carried over to your 50s. And you can't, and that's why you're not thinking about your budget. You're struggling to be the caretaker, the mother, the father, different people and you can't think about yourself. All of what you've said is spot on here today. I'm hoping that the listeners will enjoy this conversation. But before I close out and let you guys introduce each of your businesses, I just want to make sure that none of you had questions for each other, because none of you have met each other. So were there some things that were burning that you wanted to ask the group of ladies here that maybe that you could take back and work on for yourselves, or ponder or pontificate upon later in the day?
I've got a question for Cherise. What did it take to stay married?
Jesus.
That's something I was unable to achieve.
She
and
said Jesus. She said it 3 times.
That was it. Okay.
I am here because of Jesus. I'm gonna be very, very transparent.
Amen.
It's hard work. Sometimes it seems like it's easier just to be out and do me. But because I love the Lord and I stay close to Him in building my relationship. And I was told to stay and work it out. And every day is a new day, and nothing is perfect. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So now I'm an empty nester, and so now we're refining ourselves again. You know, without the kids, and who am I, and then who am I separate from you, and then who am I when we're together? Because I do want someone to live life with, and you got to be equally yoked, and sometimes it takes time for each person to catch up with each other. But again, right, the fruit of the spirit, love and patience.
Thank you for that wisdom. Thank you for
Yeah.
that wisdom. What you shared was by itself was powerful.
So my next husband, I'm gonna pray a little bit more.
Yes, bring the Lord into it, honey,
Yeah,
because he'll make them do right. Sometimes you can't make them do right,
yeah,
but the
yeah,
Lord is good, honey. He knows what He's doing.
yeah.
All
Or make
right
me
now.
do right. I
Yes,
don't
us
want to put
too.
him down. Not always the man, but anyway.
I know. I
Yes.
agree. I agree. I'm guilty. Well,
Sharice,
Val,
how many years have you been married?
oh,
That's another question.
since 1996, so it's been over 20 something years. We were college sweethearts, so that's why it's so long. Yeah.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yes, I'm inspired by these ladies also. When Val mentioned that she took her trips without a budget, that's something that I'm trying to say, okay, I'm going to kind of throw a little caution to the air and treat myself, and then, kind of work that out. So I know that that takes guts to do.
And can I say this? I would like to say, I mean, here's honestly, I was having a whole moment in here one day with God, and I was listening to a song by Yolanda Adams, and in the song she said, "Thank you for the life you've allowed me to live." And I
Mm,
just burst out in tears because at that particular time is when I was working on doing better, right? Getting me together. And
mhm.
I said, "Oh my God." And I clearly heard the Lord say, "Look what I let you do while you were being raggedy. What do you think I'm going to do for you when you get yourself together?" And I promise you, y'all, that thing hit my soul. And I was like, "God, I'm so sorry because I could have been doing this right from the beginning." But a lot of it was a blessing in the sense too that my job would go we is Belgium based. So we would go to Brussels for, a Tuesday through Thursday thing. And my director would go, "Y'all can go early." So we leave Friday, and then so most of the trip is already paid for. I just had to pay for it. Like when we wouldn't go to Brussels, we'd fly into Paris, right? And do a couple of days in Paris, then take the train to go to Brussels and then do the meeting and then leave Brussels and go to Barcelona, So I'm like, oh my God, I know how blessed I am. And I know who blessed me, right? So I don't want to hold it up because I know this is timed, but I do recognize that it wasn't me.
But also, I think what you were saying, Sharice, is it was more of not being just such a stickler for every single thing, and saying that you need to treat yourself more and not be worried about how much is that going to cost, how much is that going to cost, and just do it. And I think that's what you were grasping from Val. Is not that it wasn't unorganized for you, Val. It was just that she's saying, I need to have a freer mindset to say, I don't need to have $4,000 in my bank account before I decide to go on a trip. Let me just do it with this 2,000 or 1,000 or $500 and just do something to go on that trip.
Guess what? What I didn't realize too, because I'm a big cruiser. Remember, Melissa, I'll go on a cruise every October, and you could pay those down. If you get an agent, you can pay those down. It's not that, like you said, you don't have to come off of $4,000 off the top.
Yeah,
You can,
I was using that as an example. But I
yeah,
think a
yeah.
cruise is a peach tree dish right now, so I would not
Oh, yeah,
have
yeah,
none of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
y'all
No, no, no.
get
I
on
said
that
used to,
trip.
used to. I ain't been nowhere, but
All right. So, Sharice, did you finish your question before we cut
Yeah,
to?
I wanted to get what I gleaned from Val, and then also with Carol. I'm very impressed that you were able to, have the guts to say, I'm going to start my own business and I'm just going to do it and pull the trigger. So that's great. I actually tried to start a business, but it took the preference of, okay, do I leave my 9 to 5 and do this 100% entrepreneurship piece, or stick with what I know and what I'm comfortable with? So I wasn't able to make the leap yet. So proud of you and what you're doing.
Right, but what she said was she took bits and bites. I'm gonna do my ISBN this day. Or not ISBN. I'm gonna do my EIN this day. I'm thinking about a book. Yeah, I took bits and bites of the situation, not just eat the whole damn elephant. Yeah.
Right. Literally put that off since 1998 when I first worked in real estate. When I was the first real estate agent in New Jersey. In 1998, I said I want to start my own firm. My son was about 8 years old. Never got it done. Took me 2 months. And I
Wow.
still worked full time in my real estate other firm. I just came home at night, did one more thing.
Listen, ladies, I could keep talking to you forever and ever and ever because I am enjoying this conversation, and I would love to do it again with a different topic if you're open to it. Sharice, I think as the introvert of our crew, you did an awesome job today. And I want to thank each and every one of you. But before we go on with our day, I want at least, Val and Carol to talk a little bit about their business and how people can contact you so that you can get some additional spotlight on what you're doing. So we'll start with you, Val, and then we'll roll over to you, Carol, to talk about your business, and then we'll close out here, ladies.
Cool. This shouldn't take very long. God gave me this, like Carol. I was thinking, I feel like it was something that I should have been doing. I'm also a minister, but I didn't want to keep being in the pulpit. And I feel like God has called me to the marketplace. So what I would ask people to do now is follow me right now on Instagram, which would be Momentum Mondays.life. Follow me on Instagram. It's the place where I'm inspiring God's people, to live a life of prayer and of worship and of gratefulness. There's a lot going on out in this world, and we just have to be grateful. And so what I'm asking people to do right now is just tap into some good news. I mean, there's so much going on out here. So tap into me, MomentumMondays.life, and check out what we're talking about. We have different subjects every month. And right now, this month's topic is change. Next month, we'll have a different topic. But just follow me on Instagram, MomentumMonday.life.
Awesome. All right, Carol.
Okay, everyone. Carol Small, the realtor. I work with real estate investors, people selling homes, land, farms, estates, and multifamily properties from all across the United States. I know I'm located here in North Carolina, but if you ever need any real estate assistance, an advocate for your purchases or sales, I have colleagues all across the country. I belong to several different investment organizations that are nationwide. I belong to groups that can help you. So just give me a call or go to my website, and I'm going to say it slowly. Call CarolSmall.com. That is callcarolsmall.com. That is for my traditional real estate. And my personal firm is PeponiProperties.com. And that again is PEPONI Properties.com. And please keep in mind that the word Peponi is the Swahili word for paradise.
All right. I love it. All right. Black entrepreneurship. We are aspiring to be like you, my sister. So, again, I have thoroughly enjoyed this time that we have spent together. I know we ran a little bit over, and so thank you very much for taking the extra time. And as always, I see you because I am you.
You have just listened to the Girl Talk podcast with your host, Melissa Ann. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play. Until next time, remember, I see you because I am you.